My name is Hayden Baker and welcome back to Hayden Cinema. Today we're going to be talking about The Last of Us Season 2. So before I get started, I wanted to say that this is going to be a spoiler review. Well, more of a review of the season as a whole, but there's going to be certain spoilers that I'm going to have to say that it's way too hard to work around. And to get to how I feel about certain things, I'm going to obviously say them in detail, but I'm not going to do a full spoiler review for each episode. Me and my buddy Marcus over at the Fantasy Zone are doing live streams that are full spoiler reviews for each episode, so you can go on my channel and watch those. But as far as this video goes, again, just a short season review that is going to have spoilers in it. So just if you haven't seen the season, just be wary of that. Please go watch the season and then come back. I will also say that I have played the game. I've had a lot of, I'm kind of getting a little bit of Last of Us fatigue here because about probably, I'd say about 3-4 months ago, I started playing the first game, beat the first game, watched the entire first season of the show, and then immediately started watching season 2 and playing Last of Us 2, and now I'm done with those, and I got a little bit of fatigue, and that I don't know if that's affected my experience or not. I do have quite a bit of negatives with the season, but they're not mostly the negatives that are the popular opinion, nor do I have an issue with Bella Ramsey or Joel's death that a lot of people have. I understand all the controversy that the game had when it came out, and the show is having kind of the same run of that. Not as threatening. This isn't going to be a Bella Ramsey hit piece. This isn't going to be a Last of Us hit piece. This is my experience in my viewing of the show and this most recent season. So with that being said, my positives for this season alone is that starting with, we'll do the characters. So like Joel. The moments here that we get with Joel are fantastic, and in my opinion, it is the best we get of Joel. It's not the most, but it is the best. As far as Pedro Pascal's acting, as far as the writing for Joel, as far as his interactions with other characters, it is my favorite among the franchise so far. And even in the video games, I'm not going to lie to you, I really think I might prefer the show's version of Joel. In the show, along with other characters, especially Ellie in this season, that this show really focuses on the mental warfare other than the physical warfare. The game does too, but it doesn't go into, especially in Ellie with this season, that she doesn't really go through all the physical warfare that Ellie did in the game, but her mental warfare and her mental scars are a lot thicker and a lot more painful. Same thing here with Joel. Now, as far as Bella Ramsey goes, I think Bella's fantastic. I think that Bella is a fantastic actor, and the performances are so realistic and so gripping whenever Ellie wakes up in the hospital and all she can see is Joel dying like that, and that scream she lets out is so real, and all the subtle face expressions that Ellie makes, and there's so much there that is so great. Now, some of the dialogue is let down, especially like, I'm gonna be a dad. Like, that was so stupid. I hated that. Again, the writing lets Bella and Ellie down a lot in certain pieces of the show, but as far as the acting and as far as what I did like of Ellie's character in the show, Bella does great, and it's not her fault. And what people are attacking her for with looks, all these other things, it's disgusting. And I'm not even going to get into that because this isn't going to be a hit piece. And it's not worth the time nor the energy to talk about the ignorant and idiotic internet troll beef with Bella. It's not worth my time, nor anyone else's, and I don't know why anyone focuses on it. But yes, as far as the acting goes, I thought it was great. And then you have like Gabriel Luna as Uncle Tommy. the little bit we get of Uncle Tommy, which is more than what we get of him in season one, but what we get of him here in season two, and I hopes to get more of him in season three. But as of this, I really really love Gabriel Luna's take of Uncle Tommy. Now with the show's done with him and how we didn't really get to see Tommy through Seattle, only in the end there. I didn't like that, but I'm hoping they make up for it in season three. I can't see them focusing a whole season on Abby and then having like Ellie cut scenes and then like hardly no Tommy. This would be a terrible adaptation. But as of right now, I really love what they're doing, and I love Gabriel Luna's acting. I love his voice and how he changes his voice to Uncle Tommy's. I love Uncle Tommy in the game. And actually, in Last of Us 2, Uncle Tommy is my favorite character by a landslide. Ellie's not. My issues with Ellie stand almost equally from the show and the game. Like, I do have issues with that character in the game. But Tommy is great, and I love Gabriel Luna. I love his work on the show. I love the writing for his character. I love how smart he is. I love the twist almost, how in the game. Spoiler for the games, by the way, too. But in the game, Tommy's in Seattle, and he's like a couple of days ahead of Bella or of Ellie and Dina, and Dina and Ellie are actually after Tommy. And just while they're looking for Tommy, Ellie is on the side quest, which is actually her main focus of getting Abby, and Maria sends them on that trail. And you find all these gruesome things and like these people being tortured and killed by Tommy, and for him to avenge his brother. But in the show, they kind of flip that to where I think he's kind of in Seattle, and he might go on this revenge quest. But it'd be more for the way it's lined up now. It's like it doesn't have anything to do with Joel. How it's more of him taking Joel's role of taking care of Ellie, protecting Ellie, and so like he's going to end up killing all these people to protect Ellie and to keep Ellie from taking that dark path that Joel took. And but I really hope we get to explore more with that. But as you know, Tommy right here, I still really love the character, and I love what they've done with him. I think his acting is perfect. And then you have like Isabella Merced who plays Dina. I thought I really loved Dina's character in the show more than I do in the game. Dina in the game's not really a big piece. She's more of just a character that you see in cut scenes, and you have the relationship with her and Ellie and that love triangle with Ellie and Jesse and Dina. But they don't really explore that a whole lot. They just kind of really explore the relationship that Ellie and Dina builds when they first get into Seattle and Seattle day one and day two. And then you have just other elements that I still like, but you don't really get to explore her as a character. In the show, she's damn near a main character just as much as Ellie is. And I love the acting from Isabella, and I love what she does, and what she's done with the character. Also, my boy Young Mazzino. I mean, I was introduced to Young much like most of us were through the show Beef. I love the show Beef. I don't know what the next season of that's going to look like. I heard it's like anthology. But him playing Stephen Young's or Danny's little brother in that show, I love that character as well, and very realistic. Kind of has the same attitude that my little brother has, like this little cocky but also very nonchalant douche. Uh, but young Mazzino does great as playing Jesse, and I really do prefer Jesse's role in the show more than I do in the game. In the game, you get some really great conversations, and I'll get into that more in my mixed and negatives. But you get these really great conversations, especially in like the children's library, where Jesse tells a story of his mom reading him the story, and she'd always read him the same story, but she would change the ending that way it felt like a different story. And then one time she made this really messed up ending. But Jesse or Young's take on Jesse, for one, the looks are perfect. I know people complain about looks in this show. Young's looks are perfect for this role. Jaw and bone structure in his face, his build, his height, his weight, how he carries himself, his mannerisms, or Jesseisms. He does all those really great, and yeah, he made for one of my favorite characters in the show. Unfortunately, very short lived, but yeah, I really do love what we get there. Also, some really great game elements. Like you have the venom machines, stealth mode. They brought stealth mode into this show, where you have the scene where Dina and Ellie are in the what was it? It's not a warehouse, but some building like a studio, I think. And they see all the people hanging. The scars hung a bunch of wolves, and then you have these wolves come in, and Ellie and Dina duck down, and then you hear Dina kind of like listen closely in, and it's like pressing R1 on the button, dude. That was awesome. That was awesome to see that. And then you have Ellie's stealth attack, where instead of shooting, she sneaks up on somebody and she shivs them, and I thought that was just amazing. And also, they utilized her being smaller, and the show opening up with Jesse training Ellie. And then you have the tank at the end of episode 2, I think, or maybe 3, where you see all the wolves going into Seattle, and it's like that huge army, and it's Isaac's army. Yeah, I loved all that. I loved all those game elements. Also, Catherine O'Hara's performance is the standout performance, especially in episode 1. Catherine O'Hara, I'm a big fan of her from Home Alone to Beetlejuice to Schitt's Creek, and then now this show, and then there's one more, I think. But yeah, anytime I see Catherine O'Hara, it's always a good sign, and she gives a wonderful performance here, especially with the story of her and Eugene and what Joel did, and how she's a therapist in this town, and despite what Joel has done to her, she gives this really terrifying performance, and she gives some really great lines, and she gives some really good points too. Like you have this scene with her and Tommy where she's talking about the difference between a liar and someone that tells a lie, and she saying, Ellie's a liar. Then you have her confronting Joel while Joel's in her office, wanting to be validated for how he feels because he's in therapy, and she's like, "I'm done validating you." And that entire scene was just chilling and perfect through and through. And then you have Jeffrey Wright, who plays Isaac, and he also is terrific, mainly because he plays Isaac in the game, much like, I forget her name, but the woman who plays Marlene in the game plays Marlene in the show. So you have the same situation here, and I really loved what Jeffrey Wright does. And then you have that cameo with Josh Peck and Jizz Boy, and then you see he was a Firefly, and then he betrays the Fireflies, and yeah, just everything that he does that they do with him in this show is perfect, and I can't wait to see what they do with Isaac later on in the series. As far as set pieces go, this show has some of the best set pieces of any television I've ever seen in my life. And how these, the ones that are on location, of course, look great. But they build towns and set pieces that are so expensive and so amazing. And episode 2 is the highest extent of what a good set piece is. It is awesome. And then you have all the infected and the bloater and the town of Jackson going against these things. It's all great. Again, the show has so many highs. But unfortunately, that is where all of my... Well, one more. Again, the infected. There is a lot of infected in here. We didn't get the Shambler, and we didn't get the Rat King, but we got another bloater, I guess. That was pretty cool. And we got a lot of infected, and we did in season 1. And we get the Stalker, and they really utilize that Stalker, especially in... I want to say maybe episode 5, 4 or 5. The stalkers are really utilized very well and very creepy. Now moving on into my mixed, and this one seems to be a big negative for everyone, but it's actually mixed for me because it doesn't affect my entire viewing experience. I love Bella Ramsey, and I love Ellie. I love the character, but Craig Mazin's writing, not only his fault, but the writing of Ellie really lets the character down. Again, I love the mental warfare more than the physical warfare side of Ellie, and diving into that. but some of the scenes that they pull, especially with her and Dina, that are integral in the game, they don't really make sense if it's mental warfare versus physical warfare. Like her healing Ellie, and you see all these battle scars in the game, and then she got shot in the arrow by a Seraphite, and there's a lot of physical battle there, and Ellie goes through hell. And so Dina patching her up and them having that conversation. But that works for me more in the game than it did the show, because in the show Ellie's just a little scratched up and she's sitting there shirtless and Dina's like patching her up, and I'm like, that's just an excuse to get us to this point that looks like the game but is not the game, and then just to throw this piece of dialogue that you want in there. That type doesn't work for me because it wasn't utilized correctly. Like I said, the I'm gonna be a dad, like that was so stupid. I hated that. It doesn't make sense, and I much liked Ellie's reaction to Dina's pregnancy more than I did in the show. I liked it more in the game. A part of me almost feels like that they're trying to push the audience away from the character of Ellie just to maybe give the character of Abby a chance, because they know that we're going to be spending some time with Abby. But I'd rather that come naturally, not forced. And this feels a bit forced. And so there's certain things with the writing like that I just didn't like. But it didn't affect my entire experience. But also, there's not enough action with Ellie. Again, with the mental and the physical warfare and the differences. Uh, like, when you finally do see that side of Ellie that we've all been waiting for, where she's going to kill Nora, you find out she doesn't kill Nora. Like, really, you took that away from us? And then you have like the scene with her and Mel and Owen, which I liked, and I liked the pregnancy scene. But I didn't like the fact that they just debunk it with, "I didn't mean to kill your friends." Yes, you did. Yes, you did. That's why you're there. It irritated me. And there's not enough scars. There's also a bunch of useless moments with them that I thought could have been done way better. And I'm really hoping to get them more into season 3. But I know that with Abby you get the perspective of the wolves versus the Seraphites, and you're like in the middle of it. But it's also much more entertaining being Ellie in the game and running across these Seraphites and having to fight them off one by one, very stealthily, may I add. And there's so much of a threat, and they don't really establish that threat level. You get like one scene that's like 2 minutes long where they grab Ellie up, and then they're like, "Oh, never mind, stuff's going on, leave her alone, let's go." And it's like, what was that for? Like, that was so pointless. And this show already has a problem with the timing and the pacing and the length, especially. Like, it's not long enough. There's not enough story here. It doesn't feel completed at all, which I'll get into my negatives. But again, it's just it's very unsatisfying with what we did get with the Seraphites. I really dig the wolves and the Seraphites and then Ellie and the battles, but they don't do that at all, and that is a very integral part of the first half of the game and the first half of the story, and they don't put it there. But again, those are my mixed feelings because they didn't affect my entire viewing experience, just only bits and pieces of certain episodes. But what did affect my entire viewing experience as far as in negatives go for the whole season this season is the story is very rushed, what I just mentioned. There's not enough time here to tell this story correctly, and now we're up to a 4th season. So you mean to tell me that you're going to break this one story up into 3 pieces when you could have done it in 2? I was down for the 2 season, and getting Ellie and then getting Abby. But as far as what they have told, really, you're going to give us less episodes in season 1. If we would have gotten a 12 episode season and at least had 2 episodes that were feature film length, like 90 to 2 hours, 90 minutes to 2 hours, that would have been perfect. You would have been able to tell everything that you needed to tell. That bugged the piss out of me. And again, the story doesn't feel complete at all. The way it ends it's perfect the way it ends because it's how we all seen it ending. But getting up to that point is very unsatisfying because we didn't get anything. Like, it felt like we really didn't get a whole lot. Like, we got a bunch of nothing almost. And that really bugged me. Like, there was so much there. It's like they told half of the first half of the story. Like, they told a quarter of the story and stretched it to the first half. And it does not work for me. And there's so much uselessness in there. And as much as, like I said, episode 2 is one of my favorite episodes of the entire show. Episode 6 was my favorite episode of the entire show. It was absolutely my favorite episode of the entire show, season 1 and 2. Um, and now it almost feels pointless as much as I loved what they did there. Like, it wouldn't have affected my entire viewing experience if it had been, again, 10 to 12 episodes and a couple of feature film length episodes. And one of them was the shorter episode. Uh, but now that we have only 7 episodes and then we have an entire episode of Joel and Ellie, I loved it, but now I'd almost rather it have been cold openings of each episode, and you would have gotten that entire episode just in certain segments, and it almost would have felt better, at least seeing Joel throughout the whole season. And I didn't like how they told nothing to what the game tells in that story, and then they waste an entire episode like that. Again, an episode I love, and it's my favorite one of the entire show. It's a 5 out of 5 episode for me. But now it's like, but we could have done something else. And we could have still gotten that at the same time. And that just, that annoys me thinking about it. Also, touching on Ellie one last time, I don't like how they wrote her to be so stupid. Like with the triangulating and, oh, well, you're good at math, so I'm just going to go, no, dude. And then again, the dad, and it's so bad. It's so bad at some points. And then you get, like, with her and Jesse, they're supposed to get, like, that really important conversation that they have in the game, and then they don't have it here. And then you have, like, again, another dumb Ellie moment where you have the last episode opening up, and Jesse is pushing the arrow through Dina's leg, and he offers her a drink and says it's going to help, and she turns it down and says, no, I have to live. And then Jesse confronts Ellie about that, saying, I bet she tells you things that she doesn't tell me, like how she's pregnant. And Ellie goes, oh, man. And then Jesse goes, wait, what? And she goes, oh, man, you were guessing? Like, really? Really? I really hope that they change it up. I really hope that it pays off in the end, because it definitely didn't pay off by the end of this. And my last and final negative is going to be a bit of a repeat, but again, it's very unsatisfying with the ending. It's led to nothing almost, is what it feels like, and there was so much other story beats that you could have told and could have done, and gameplay sequences that you could have done. There's no good tie-offs. There's not a satisfying ending. None of the characters really get a full close by the end of this season, and I'm all for leaving other things open for interpretation or to move forward. But it's not a good standalone season. Like, if we only had season 1 of The Last of Us, that would have been perfect. I would have been okay never knowing what would have happened next. And with this one, it doesn't end like that. Like, I like my seasons to end as a standalone, to where if the show got canceled, I'm satisfied from start to finish on where we left off. Even though the story may not be finished, it feels finished. It feels complete. It feels satisfying to what we got. And this, in absolutely no way, shape, or form, does it feel that way. And I can't stand it. And then they do that cheesy ass gunshot sound cut to black. And it's like, if you've played the game, you know she didn't shoot Ellie. She shot Tommy. Even if you haven't played it, you know there's no way in hell she just shot Ellie. You know that. And I've watched reactions of people who haven't played the game and it hasn't been spoiled. And even they know. They're like, she did not shoot Abby. Or Abby did not shoot Ellie. No. That's my feeling of the show. When it's at its highest, it's at the highest the show has had yet. And when it's at its lowest, it's the lowest that the show can possibly get for me. So I'm really hoping we get a better season next season, obviously. I wasn't looking forward to crapping on this season, and I'm still trying not to, because it is a pretty good season. It's got a very unsatisfying ending, and some of the character choices I didn't like. So overall, I'm going to give season 2 of The Last of Us a 3 out of 5. It was almost a 4. Could have been a 4 with a better ending or better moments to the ending. It had it been longer, could have been a 4 out of 5, maybe even a 5. But yeah, that's just where I'm standing right now with this. What did you think about The Last of Us Season 2? And let's talk about it down in the comments. Have you played the games? Which game's your favorite? What's your favorite moment in Season 2? And what are you looking forward into Season 3? Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and hit your notification bell. That way you stay up to date with all of my posts. You can follow me on all of my social medias. They'll all be linked down in the description. If you want to hear my thoughts on my Season 1, or on The Last of Us Season 1, you can go and watch the Season 1 review I have up. So go watch that, and I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoy watching this video just as much as I enjoy making it for you, and I'll see y'all next time.